Here's what happens when a restaurant does everything right. So, welcome to episode 2 of Good Gossip. I am your expert witness, Melinda B. Powers with the Intentional Professionals Network. And today we're going to be talking about a restaurant that I went here a few months ago for the first time, and I still think about that experience and just how spot on it was. I don't like to use the word perfect. I'm generally someone who will talk about abandoning that word altogether, but this experience came pretty darn close. So let me tell you about it. There is a restaurant around the corner from my apartment. It's about 2 blocks away called Layla in downtown Detroit. Layla serves Mediterranean cuisine done in a it's elevated, but it's not frou-frou in that way. It's still approachable. I would say it's simple and elegant. That's how I would describe it. It's not buttoned up, but it's not too casual. The vibe in the environment is just, it's very laid back, it's very relaxed. It's, dim lighting, just beautiful decor. It's wonderful. So let me just tell you, I had been scoping out the menu for a while before I went, and I finally decided to go. I just decided I didn't make a reservation. I just got up and did a walk in, sat at the bar, was greeted right away. And the employee from behind the bar that I spoke with, she gave me the rundown. She let me know that I just could order, I would get unlimited bread with my meal. And whenever I ran out, just to let them know and they refill it, and we were good to go. Pretty simple, right? I did that. I ordered. The bread was it was warm, it was yummy. It's pita bread, obviously. And the meal, like I said, it's simple elegance. I had a bowl with ground lamb, yogurt, I think it was pomegranate seeds, various vegetables, I think chickpeas, cucumbers, various vegetables, onions, garlic, things like that. But then I also had the kibbeh, which is raw lamb meat. I had never had that before. I love lamb. I like steak tartare. I like poke bowls. So I'm not afraid of eating uncooked meat either. But I didn't know what to expect. But my gosh, the meat was so flavorful. For that to be uncooked, that was some of the best tasting meat I think I've had in a restaurant, maybe ever. It's mixed with spices and cracked wheat. And you can put it in the bread. You make like, a little sandwich kind of thing going on, or, bite by bite, tear off some bread, have some. Definitely there were jalapenos in there too, so it gave it a little kick in places where the jalapeno rested on the but it was so good. And I was so surprised. I thought I'd like it because I do like lamb, but that meat was phenomenal. And the bowl was good too. Don't get me wrong. I loved all the ingredients in the bowl, which is why I got it. But I was fixed on that kibbeh. It was immaculate. And sure enough, once I was ready for more bread, they were very attentive. I did not feel like I was waiting and I had to get someone's attention to flag them down. The bread came right away. It was warm. It was wonderful. Um, and paying the bill very quick. Everything was seamless. Like I did not have one thing that I complained about or felt some kind of way about. And I feel like when I go out to eat, especially with fine dining, sometimes it's always something. And maybe it was just, maybe the stars were aligned that night and I just went at the perfect time. But I stand by this. And I've talked to other people who like that place and I have not heard a bad thing about it. They are part of a restaurant group, so that's not the only establishment that they have. But man, that was just some of the best, just not only me, but food I'd had in a while, just flavor wise. The portion was perfect. I had a little bit left over to take home. That was just a really good experience, and I didn't feel like it was too expensive. It didn't break the bank. It wasn't a quote cheap meal, but it was a nice mid-tier bill. It wasn't exorbitant. It's what you'd expect to pay for dinner out at a decent restaurant. The only problem is shortly after this particular outing, I decided to go pescatarian. So I haven't been back. I am considering giving myself a pass maybe a couple times a year so I can get that particular dish because I really like it that much. Let's get into why this experience was so good. One, like I said, it was just a seamless process. Everyone was attentive. I was not left waiting. And when I did have that one, initial conversation with the staff person behind the bar, everything was explained to me. So I didn't have any questions about anything. I wasn't unsure about how everything was going to go. And it went exactly the way they stated. So that was really nice not having to figure out how things work. I think that's a very good note to take from Layla is that don't leave your customer with a bunch of questions to answer. When you are able to make the process of service delivery or product delivery seamless as possible, as I always say, frictionless as possible, that makes it so much more memorable. So much more memorable. I would even venture to guess that even if the food is not top notch, having a really smooth customer experience may be able to balance that out a little bit versus if the food's not good and the service isn't good. I think it's also a testament to them knowing their strengths because they do stick to a specific type of cuisine and they don't have a super long menu. It's not tiny, but it's not like, it's definitely not Cheesecake Factory long, but it is a simple enough menu where you get a decent amount of selections, but it's not overwhelming. And everything is, in a certain realm. You know what to expect. You know there's going to be some baba ganoush, you know there's going to be hummus. So those things, those staples are there. And then you have the things like the kibbeh, which you're not going to get at every Mediterranean restaurant. The ambiance, just the environment was just so relaxed. It was a lot of people there, like there's a lot of chatter, so it is a little bit noisy, but not too much. It's not annoying. And then it was like very dimly lit. So it was just a very nice, relaxing, calm environment. I was on my phone doing some brainstorming and some strategy planning, I think, because I just felt so comfortable and everything was just flowing. So it put me in a very relaxed mood. Everyone was very friendly and attentive. There were plenty of staff people available. If I would have needed anything else, I don't feel like I would have been waiting around to find someone. There were plenty of people around. And it was just a really nice environment. So I am a stickler for all of these particular points when it comes, especially when you're talking about food, because it's so personal. You can't return it. Once you've eaten it, it's eaten. So you want to feel like you got your money's worth. And I definitely felt like I got way more than I paid for. If they're doing anything close to what they're doing here at Layla, I it's a no-brainer. I would go to their other establishments sight unseen just because of my experience there. If I'm singing your praises, you did a really great job. Layla, phenomenal. Thank you so much for contributing to Detroit's food scene. A place that I know I can go if I just really want some good food, good environment, and good service. Perfect place if you are having like friends from out of town or relatives from out of town. It's definitely on my list for when I have out of town guests, or even just to suggest to someone who maybe has never been there that lives nearby. Layla nails it. That's all I have to say. Period, point blank. I've loved. I can still. It's almost like I can still taste it. It really left an impression on me. So let's just leave it there. But we want to remember it's the service, not leaving questions, not leaving anything to for the customer to interpret for themselves. Make everything super clear, as easy as possible. Make the process easy and seamless or frictionless. Provide an environment that's comfortable and it's aesthetically pleasing too. It's very modern and beautiful. And if everyone's enjoying their food in an environment like that, it's just like, what else could you ask for? You're playing to your strengths, Layla, because you're serving food that you know how to prepare well, and you're doing it in a way that it feels elevated, even though it's not trying to be more than it is. You just tell it's well made. It's probably very well sourced, and it's just good. You don't need all the bells and whistles when it's good. So all this talking about it, I think I might have to make a trip. Maybe to this week is when I go back and give myself permission to have a little lamb. We talk a lot about quiet luxury now. Luxury is not just about a price tag. It doesn't even have to be expensive to be luxurious. And Layla is a perfect example of that. I believe that kibbeh is about $20, and it had the quality of an entree. Anyhow, thank you so much. Remember these tips. All of this is contributing to the end of the week when we talk about operational excellence and how that is what luxury really is. At the end of the week and across the board, we're going to pull all of these examples together to make that point. Okay, now I'm stopping. But thank you so much. I will see you next week for Good Gossip and tomorrow for 10 out of 10. Bye.